we got Bruce, Terry, and Braden Evans. And so we're talking about the freedom of speech and the importance it has with communication today. So freedom of speech is a principle that supports the freedom of an individual or community to articulate their opinions and ideas without fear of retaliation, censorship, or legal sanction. As students in America, almost all of us learn about freedom of speech from our U.S. history classes that we take throughout our academic careers. Okay. So where does the freedom of speech originate from? Freedom of speech originates from Greek literature. The ancient word parousia means free speech. During the classical period, parousia became a fundamental part of the democracy of Athens. Leaders, philosophers, playwrights, and everyday Athenians were free to openly discuss politics and religion and to criticize the government in some settings. The Greek word parousia first appeared in Greek literature around the end of the 5th century. Free speech was just a phrase, not like how we have it today as an amendment in our Bill of Rights here in the United States of America. As part of the Bill of Rights, the United States adopted the First Amendment, granting individual liberties of speech, assembly, and worship. It protects all forms of communication from speeches to art and other media. Freedom of speech here in the United States of America is guaranteed to every American citizen. However, the First Amendment does not protect everything. American citizens are not at liberty to say whatever and whenever they want. So listed here on the screen, we have a list of things that the First Amendment does not protect. And these things are obscenity, fighting words, defamation, child pornography, perjury, plagiarism, blackmail, incitement to imminent lawless action, true threats, solicitations to commit crimes. So as you can see, freedom of speech is not completely free, as there are some exceptions to freedom of speech. There are many universities who have tried to implement speech codes, such as the University of Michigan, and these speech codes have been deemed unconstitutional by the Supreme Court, as these speech codes, they contained many words that the schools would prohibit students from saying, and if they did say these words, they would be punished. But as I said, these speech codes have been deemed unconstitutional. Here we have a list of countries of freedom, countries without freedom of speech throughout history. These are such as the Soviet Union, Cuba, Italy, early Italy in the 1940s, China, Nazi Germany, Afghanistan, and the majority of the other Middle Eastern countries, and many others. Many of these countries were under communist or fascist control or under the leadership of a dictator. Some countries now, like China, have freedom of speech, but there are many people who would debate that how free their freedom of speech actually is. One country that is very well known for its lack of freedom of speech is North Korea. In North Korea, the government restricts the freedom of expression, assembly, association, religion, organized political opposition, independent media, civil society, and trade unions. The government restricts all civil and political liberties for its citizens. Some consequences for breaking these freedom of speeches would be torture in custody, forced labor, execution, and imprisonment. Through these punishments, the government can maintain fear and control over its citizens. So how do we use our freedom of speech and communication? When having a conversation, it is important to consider that everyone has the freedom of speech to say or believe whatever they like. It's okay to disagree with one another, but we must always acknowledge that we each have the freedom of speech, our freedom to have our own opinions and ideas and views. Individuals arguing over conflicting views isn't very effective when individuals don't respect each other's freedom of speech. If we are not unable to respect someone else's point of views, it's hypocritical to think that they should respect our point of views as well. Acknowledge and respect the opinions of others. By doing so, you won't appear hostile and others will be less defensive. If others can see that we do respect their point of views and that we do acknowledge their freedom of speech, they will be less defensive and they will be more accepting of our views and our freedom of speech. It's very important to always keep an open mind when respecting other people's opinions, views, and ideas. Communication in society is key for many reasons. For example, there needs to be clear communication between the members of that society, the members to the leaders of the society, and vice versa, and the media to the society. Communication of government policies, current events, world events, products, inventions, food, water, past, present, future, families, friends, activities, businesses, relationships, and life. These are all things communicated on a daily basis between neighbors, friends, media, and the government. In America, for example, people's rights to communicate freely are protected, allowing individuals to share their ideas and opinions. Free communication between businesses allows for new deals and new products to be produced. Free speech is important to allow citizens to keep their government in check, allowing them to elect officials to represent them and have their voice heard. This is something that's very important here in America, especially this year, with many people, with us having the debate and the election for the President of the United States. Although many individuals have contradictory opinions and views, it's important that everyone is able to share their thoughts as they like. And as we would like others to view and respect our opinions, we should respect theirs as well. Without the ability to communicate freely, businesses cannot make new deals and products easily, causing delay and potentially no production at all. In North Korea, for example, people cannot communicate freely as they are fed government propaganda from birth to death, not letting them explore and gain opinions of things on their own, such as policies in government or world events. No communication of events leads to no public outreach to assist if needed because they don't even know it's happening. Relationships between people often can't become as deep without free communication because they are limited to what they can say and do. So freedom of speech is very helpful and beneficial to individuals and society. It enhances life and allows the communication of others' opinions and ideas to compete against one another. Through the competition of others' ideas and opinions and views has been fundamental in the creation of the U.S., the country of the United States of America. And it's through the freedom of speech, through opposing ideas, that we have become such a great country. The lack of freedom of speech robs people of their individualism as they are not allowed to express themselves freely. Thank you for your time. I hope that you could take away from this presentation how freedom of speech and the importance it has in communication.